Suppose life begins on a planet somewhere, and then life is everywhere, and it's ubiquitous, such as it is on Earth. And imagine this happening on Mars, right at the beginning of the solar system. An asteroid strikes, a rock is flung into space. That rock is coated with Martian life and microbes. If they're microbes that were stowaways in the nooks and crannies, and if they could survive the trip through interstellar space, then this process seeds the formation of life on other planets. And you can say, well, wouldn't they die? Sure they would. But if you didn't die, it meant you were born as a microbe resistant to the temperature extremes and the radiation extremes of space. You would have been the one survivor of those conditions. Then you'd come to Earth with those properties built in. Properties that would never have been selected if you only existed on Earth. On Earth, we find a category of life that we call extremophiles that thrive under conditions that would render us dead fast. And so it's been hypothesized that some of these microbes that do resist extremes of temperature, you know, the tardigrade, you can like practically, it's a tiny little microbe. It's also called a water bear, the cutest little bugger you ever saw. But it's microscopic. All right, if you freeze dry that thing, all right, put it in a suspended animation, and 10 years later come up and add water to it, it comes back to life. So why would it need to have that property? Unless it's one of the survivors on the interplanetary ship called panspermia.
So you're saying that's how we may have gotten here? Or is it we may have been blasted out from somewhere?
We cannot exclude that possibility.
God damn it. Here's the problem with you, is that I'm now going to try to repeat that at a party. And it's just going to come out some guy in the closet with hemorrhoids is selling rocks from everywhere.
Yeah.
And fucking Peter Pan came in his pants. Here we go.
And there's life in these rocks. When will your brain blow up?
Yeah. Do you just go to bed and like stop your brain, or does your brain just keep going when you're laying in bed?
No, it's in fact, I do have to slow it down a bit, otherwise I don't go to sleep. So there are ways to slow it down. Just put on TV.
Drink a little wine.
Do you meditate?
It slows down the brain entirely. I've spoken to people who meditate, and I found out why they meditate, and I've never really had that need. So no, I've never meditated. I have nothing against it. I've just never found the urge, let me meditate now. No, I've just never had that urge. So those who do say they can find their inner self and they have peace and that, and I'm born and raised in New York. I'm not looking for peace.
You just want noise all the time.
Right, exactly. I was asked by.
I'm trying to get away from the noise.
I was asked by a newspaper one time, where do I go? What place in New York do I go for peace and quiet? And I said I said a noisy bar.
Really?
Yes, because a noisy bar, everybody's busy doing their thing, and I'm with my own species.
Right.
And so there's a certain comfort level there that I have, having grown up in New York City. And so once that happens, it becomes this background din, because there's a cacophony of sounds. Therefore, there's no sound at all. There's no meaningful sound, since it all blends together in the background. And then I enter this acoustic cocoon, and I can have deep thoughts under those conditions.
Just go to Central Park. What are you talking about?
I like the bars.
Speaking of smart, do you remember the time that you realized you were smarter than your teachers?
I don't.
Yeah.
Do you, for real?
Well, it's not so much smarter, because who knows what that word even means. But I realized I knew stuff that the teacher didn't know.
At about what age?
I was in kindergarten.
No, come on.
Yes. I drew a picture of that. We had to draw some scene. I drew a picture of the night sky, and I drew the sky with my black crayon, and I put some stars in it. And the teacher said, no, the night sky is dark blue. And I said, no, it's black. Well, I mean, you can't argue with your teacher, but we were differed on that point. Over the weekend, the teacher comes back the next Monday, said, I'm sorry, it was my mistake. Yes, space is black.
You were 5.
Yeah, about 5 or 6, yeah.
Holy crap.
But that's not any big, deep thing. It's just I'd looked up before, and she hadn't at night. Even though I grew up in New York, I know what colors, where you get a blue color is from daylight. The sunlight scattering into Earth's atmosphere, and at night, the sun isn't up. So it's black, where there aren't stars. So that was one. And then in 9th grade, I reported on the the geographic latitude of New York City. Well, the teacher said, this is a stupid thing, but I knew it and they didn't. The teacher said New York's latitude was 43 degrees north. And I said, no, I think it's 41 degrees. And he said, no, I'm quite sure it's 40. And over the weekend he comes back and apologized, saying, you're right, it is 41 degrees north. And so
you didn't have the internet back then.
No, yeah, back in the old days.
Makes it even more brilliant.
No, so they just, I knew it. And so, but by the way, that's important because it tells you that people who are otherwise tasked with teaching you don't know everything. And that doesn't devalue what they do or who they are, but it tells you that there are still things that anyone can learn. And that's in math, we would call that an existence proof. It's, wow, this person does not know everything. I might have to learn some of this on my own. And it changes how you approach knowledge and the quest to learn what the universe is and what our place is within it.
What was the last thing you learned?
Oh, I try to learn something every day.
All right, what was the last thing? Do you know offhand?
Every day. Yeah, it must have been yesterday. Hang on. If you give me a second, okay. I'll get that.
Just being as smart as you are, does it make like watching like movies like Project Almanac or something about time travel just boring? She's like, that's not.
No. Entertainment is entertainment. So no. I mean, yeah, I'll be watching it, and see if what they got right, and if they pretend, if there's a pretense that they want to get stuff right, then they got me paying closer attention. Oh. If there is no pretense, I'm not paying it any mind at all. Like, for example, in Star Wars. There is no pretense of any physics in Star Wars at all. All right?
And Did I make any mistakes?
So instead, what you do when you have a movie like that is you comb it for things that they happen to get right. So, for example, in Star Wars Episode 4, if I remember my numbers right, there's the scene where Luke is in the desert and he's looking upon the twilight sun, and it's a double star. There are 2 stars setting, and that became an iconic image of the series even. And I and my astrophysicist know that more than half the stars you see in the night sky are double or multiple star systems. So this is the first time a science fiction story captured that in a beautiful romantic way. And so kudos to that scene, because that's exactly what a double sunset would look like.
Would you go to space if you could? That sounds like a childish question, but now they're talking about taking like non-astronauts into space.
Yeah, so you have to ask. I have a different definition of space than NASA and perhaps most everybody else. Do you remember the dude who jumped out of a perfectly good balloon?
Felix Baumgartner.
Felix Baumgartner? Okay.
Yes.
Well, how was that marketed? Edge of space jump. Remember that? That was the Red Bull tagline, all right? So then I ran the numbers on it, and I said, well, okay, actually, if you scale Earth down to a schoolroom globe and ask, where is he standing relative to the schoolroom globe, it's 1/16th of an inch above the surface. And so I can't, that's not space to me. It's just not.
I mean, where you're floating. Do they take you out there where you're actually, like, where you're floating?
No, because, okay, that's a huge misconception. If you just go up, you still have your body weight. The floating part is not because you're in space, it's because you are in orbit. If you're in orbit, you are what is known as free fall towards Earth. And a really cool fact, and most people don't know this, so this is good. Okay, so watch what happens. You remember watching the space shuttle take off? Quickly, the thing starts going downrange instead of straight up. Do you notice this?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of like
this.
Yeah, exactly.
For real, no. But
they notice.
Now I do.
What's your problem here? You pay attention to this stuff.
No,
right?
I'm paying attention.
Okay,
I grew up in Florida.
Huh?
I grew up in Florida. We used to watch.
Yeah, you watch it all the time. Yeah.
Just looks like it's going up to me.
No, it's not.
Okay.
For a bit.
Right.
And then they execute the roll program, and then the thing goes downrange.
Gotcha. Okay.
Most of the energy in those tanks is to give the thing high speed horizontally, not to go up vertically. And so here's what happens. So there it is going horizontally. In orbit, as defined by Isaac Newton back in 1687. We've known this since then. Here's what the definition of orbit is. You are going sideways so fast that as you fall towards Earth, the curvature of the Earth curves away from you at exactly the same rate you are falling towards Earth, and you never actually collide. It was one of the most brilliant diagrams ever illustrated. Newton wrote something called The System of the World, which was a popular summary of his book, The Principia. And in there, he has a diagram of Earth. And imagine a little mountain on the North Pole, and you have a cannon, and you spit out a cannonball, and it just falls down right in front of you. Suppose you spit it out faster. It's a horizontal cannon. Spit it out faster. It goes farther before it hits the ground, right? Keep doing this. It'll go farther and farther before it hits the ground. It might curve around Earth's surface and hit the South Pole by the time it hits the ground.
Right.
Keep increasing the speed. Now it comes like 3/4 of the way back around. There is a speed where that cannonball will go completely around the Earth, hit you in the back of the head, but instead you duck, and the cannonball continues and repeats exactly as you started it, and there's no fuel, there's no rockets, and that speed for Earth is 17,500 miles an hour.
That's why you're fucking weightless? Are you shitting me?
That is why, because you're in free fall. And what is free fall? You go in an elevator, cut the cable.
Right.
Watch what happens. You're standing on a scale in the elevator. You say, I weigh 165 pounds, okay? How much do you weigh?
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Someone trimmed the field.
Okay. 175.
Do me.
You're 340.
You're 7 pounds off. That certainly is my goal weight there.
I used to wrestle, so I think body weight all the time. So what was I doing? So you're in an elevator, and you can read the scale, right?
Yeah.
And so now someone cuts the cable. The scale reads that because you are squeezing against the floor, and you stuck a scale in between to measure how much you're squeezing the springs, okay? You cut the elevator cable, the elevator falls, the scale falls, and you fall. No longer are you squeezing the scale. And so you become weightless. If you're holding a pen right in front of your eyes, and then let go of it, while the elevator's falling, you're falling, the pen is, everybody's falling together, the pen will appear to be suspended right in front of your eyes. So, in space, when you are free falling to any direction, you are weightless. But the moment you have your engines on, you are no longer weightless. And in fact, there's talk of running your engines halfway to Mars, so that you feel this artificial gravity, so you don't get this sort of bone mass loss
so when
that
they
you get when you're in zero G. So here's what you do. You run your engines halfway to Mars at 1 G. So that's like Earth, right? Then you turn around this, but you're going really fast by then. You turn around the spacecraft and run the engines in the opposite direction to slow you down at 1 G. And that way you're 1 G the whole trip. There's none of this, I'm weightless and I throw up, or I gotta exercise to keep the bone mass and the muscles. And so that's another way to do this trip.
Wow.
Or you spin up a space station and then you live on the perimeter of it, which is what was shown in 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so when they're doing like a quick course correction, or they have to do to avoid something, they actually lose their weightlessness when they do that?
Oh, if they run the engines, what'll happen is everything that's floating, you'll see it drift to one side or another. And during the time, sorry, they can move the ship. If you're floating in the air while they're moving the ship, you're still weightless, but the ship will then catch up with you to one side, and then you'll feel weight just as long as the engines are burning.
So you'd want to be on the space station at least.
I wouldn't mind, but if you're going to put me in space,
yeah,
I want to go somewhere. I don't want to just be driving around the block all day. Look, but up until 1972, we were going places. We went to the freaking moon. And by the way, you want to know how far away the moon is by comparison? But you know how high up the space station is orbiting? About 3/8 of an inch above Earth's surface. And we've been calling that space. 3/8 of an inch above a schoolroom globe.
Right.
So we've been calling, and to me, the astrophysicist, that's not space. If you want to put me in space, send me somewhere. Send me back to the moon, onto Mars, to an asteroid, or to a comet, and ride a comet around the sun. That's where I want to go. If I'm going to risk my life going into space, that's what I want to do. I don't want to just go driving around the block.
Is space tourism doing? Oh, sorry. Is space tourism doing that? Because I meant in orbit, like where you feel like you're floating.
Okay, so here's the thing. You can go into orbit and you're weightless continuously. The cheap way to do that is they take you up to like 60 miles. Okay? And at that altitude, the atmosphere is so thin, it's no longer glowing sky blue, and you can see stars in the daytime. All right? So that's the operational definition of what people are calling space. I personally don't like that definition because it means if our atmosphere were half as thick, then space would be at 30 miles. If it was 1/4 as thick, then space would be 15 miles up. If we didn't have atmosphere at all, it would just be Earth's surface. So what does it mean then to define space just above your atmosphere? So, but here's what happens. They take you up to that height and then sort of shut off the engines and you start falling to Earth. That's no different from cutting the cables on an elevator. So you're weightless for like 5 minutes or something, depending on how high up they
go.
go.
The vomit comet.
The vomit comet.
Right.
It's in a trajectory. The vomit comet would go in a trajectory where they shut off their engines, and it takes a sort of a parabolic path back to Earth. And during that time, you are weightless just as you would be if you were in orbit. But in orbit, you're weightless continuously.
The elevator experiment sounds great, but you can't tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
So I had the pen in front of my eyes and it's floating. Well, that's the problem. You can't tell anyone at the end of your experiment.
The first rule of scientific experiments, you want to be alive at the end of the experiment.
Well, there was one elevator that fell. The elevators have something called I think it's called the governor, which will eventually grip. And in the Empire State Building, one fell a few years ago. Almost 80 stories, I want to say. But the people lived because eventually...
It slowed it down, whatever.
It gripped, yeah.
I'm hearing you got to go, but to quickly, isn't it a shame that we didn't go back to the moon since, 1972, I believe?
What do you think my answer is to that question?
Oh,
I think you're going to say...
Frustration. No, I guess my point is we had a great start, and 72, we just pretty much stopped as far as that goes.
Yeah,
we should have been on Mars by now.
Right,
hey, can you real quick to explain the moon in inches from the school globe? So
thanks for that. So if you have a schoolroom globe of the Earth, you can ask how far away is the moon. Now we're so accustomed to seeing that distance represented in a textbook where the Earth is on one side of the page and the moon is on the other. Most people get that wrong. They would put it maybe 2 feet away or something. No, the moon would be 30 feet away from that moon across. Outside your room in the neighboring room. This is a sense of why the astronauts really went somewhere rather than just driving around the block. Now you want to know where Mars is? Mars would be a mile away.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Really fast, the Horizon satellite.
I don't know, what is that? I don't know.
The New Horizon satellite.
Sorry. New Horizons. Yeah, sure. That's like next month. It will be closer to Pluto.
We're close.
It will be close enough to Pluto to take photos that are better than the best photos we've ever been able to take with Hubble. So you're going to start seeing photos of Pluto making headlines beginning next month. Then in July, there's the flyby of Pluto, where we get the best images ever. And we'll learn Pluto and its system of moons. It's got at least 5 moons. And so even though I was, raked over the coals for participating in the reassignment of Pluto's status, this is a great thing. Pluto's been in our culture for 80 years, and it's high time we've got some good data on it.
We're going to get to know Pluto.
Hey, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Pluto. Jim, that's beautiful.
Thank you very much. We have to, Neil deGrasse Tyson has to leave. It's Star Talk. It's Mondays at 11 o'clock on Nat Geo.
Well, it's the first talk show on science ever in the history of television. We did some homework on that. We think that's correct. And so you were saying earlier that am I making people listen? No, there's an appetite out there, and we're serving. I'm a servant of the public's appetite.
It's the way you sell it.
You serve it up right.
I want to see this because you have Christopher Nolan, and you're going to discuss the science of Interstellar, which I hear wasn't that
this coming Monday. Yeah. It's advisor, a PhD cosmologist, expert on relativity. So if you're gonna bust a move with relativity, get somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's a colleague of mine at Caltech, who's Kip Thorne is his name, and he was not only advisor to it, he helped advise on the story, as well as he became executive producer. So
on the graphics, right, to make it look so realistic, because I've had certain wormhole theories which were just shot to heck.
He's got it. They're panicking.
Okay.
All right, you got TV. Neil deGrasse Tyson, always a pleasure. Neil Tyson on Twitter.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you.
Talk
Good to meet you. It was very good
at 11 p.m. on Nat Geo.
More with Opie and Jim after this.
The announcement you have all been waiting for from Steven Singer Jewelers is here. The brand new rose color for Mother's Day 2015 is pink champagne. Give her a rose that is the perfect symbol of love and celebration. It's the perfect gift at the perfect price for all the moms in your life. Can you imagine? Steven Singer's famous 24-karat gold dip roses are a great gift for Mother's Day, starting at just $59. This real long stem rose is lavishly and deeply dipped in 24-karat pure gold. Thank you, Neil. It's a gift that will last forever, so why Why worry about Mother's Day already? Because Steven Singer sells out of this gift every single year, and he wants to make sure you get the first shot at ordering his brand new color, Pink Champagne. It's beautiful. Limited quantities are available, so order yours today. Steven makes it very easy. Just go online to IHateStevenSinger.com. You can check out the roses for yourself and other things for Mother's Day, by the way, and you can reserve one of the roses for your mommy today. The perfect gift at the perfect price. One place, one price. Steven Singer Jewelers. On the phone, 1-888-I-HATE-STEVEN-SINGER, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com.
Every NBA and NHL playoff game is on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app. Each league's biggest stars.
To the rim, good! Curry scores! Alex Ovechkin!
Have one goal in mind.
If he's a 50-year-old male, Big Lou may be able to get him a large amount of coverage for the same $200 you spend on a gym membership and fad diets each month. Big Lou can show you affordable rates for $1 million in coverage, instantly making your man a bit more attractive, if you know what I mean. So get the scoop on affordable term life insurance by calling Big Lou at 800-426-1723. 800-426-1723. Remember, Big Lou is like him. It's been years since anyone has called him slim. Call and speak with Lou. 800-426-1723.
Maybe you're not thinking about your thinning hair yet, but you do not want to be one of those guys sporting a sweet comb-over in his 30s. You'll end up paying for products and procedures to try to get your hair back. Good thing you can do something to keep the hair you have now. Purador Premium Hair Loss Prevention Therapy Shampoo blends proven organic ingredients to help strengthen your hair and block DHT. That's what causes baldness. Purador has none of the harsh chemical.
Recently, this happened on Opie and Jimmy.
So some of these people that live inside your head do die?
Oh, yeah. They come and go quickly.
They just move along?
Yeah. They're around. They just kind of go in the back and they'll file.
Right.
And they never come out again. They have nothing to contribute.
I learned something about the characters in general yesterday.
That I didn't know. What did you learn?
I learned that none of them drink.
It's true.
Although a couple of them do get a little loopy on rum raisin ice cream.
Oh, yeah. Uncle Paul has gotten fucked up on rum candy. Like a lot of times he doesn't know what he's doing. He gets all loud. And he would be molesty on rum candy and chippies, rum raisin ice. Yeah.
I learned that you do these voices all day long to yourself.
Yeah. I do, in the house. I'm not even kidding.
It's not healthy.
I just assumed you just did it around your friends and for the radio show. I didn't know you were just walking around your apartment doing this.
Let me say, I'll tell you this truthfully.
Okay.
90% of Chip and Uncle Paul is heard by no one but me.
Wow, that's nutty. Wow.
Are you doing it out loud?
Of course. It'd be creepy if I didn't.
Does Jim Norton talk to him?
No, they just chat. It's just fun to do.
They just chat with each other?
Yeah, they've gotten worse since I've been single for so long. It's kind of like, it just happens.
No wonder you want a girlfriend.
Yeah, I need somebody to stop them.
Someone is saying you ripped off Uncle Paul. That is just ridiculous.
This is silly. Who's that?
That's true.
Paul in Jersey. Paul.
Hey.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hey, man.
I'm only busting. But, Jimmy, your character, Uncle Paul, he's very reminiscent of a Saturday Night Live character they used to do back in the late 70s.
What?
I think his name was Buck Owens. He used to play a babysitter.
Well, wasn't it Buck Henry?
Buck Henry, that's it.
Yeah, Buck Henry.
Honestly, I don't even know the character you mean. Yeah, I believe you, but
it was in the
character.
very early days of Saturday Night Live. The character was Uncle Roy, I believe.
Oh, wow. I'm not familiar with Uncle Roy.
Yeah, we got,
He was a babysitter. He was also a child molester. And they used to do some real outlandish shit back then. Like, there was one thing where, people would lose their minds today, where the girls would sit on a glass table and he would take pictures.
That's fucking funny.
It is, but they would lose their mind over that.
Yeah.
The girls would go through his pockets and all that. I mean, it was really bad. Do you remember the Burt Reynolds sketch where Burt Reynolds posted, he played himself as a very cocky character? He went over to a fan's house just so he could sleep with their teenage daughters.
Wow.
And they explicitly said that they were 15 and 16. So again, I think this was Buck Henry again saying, what are you going to do with them? He goes, I'm just going to take them over to the hotel, have sex with them, and kick them out.
Wow.
People would lose their mind if that happened.
I wonder how many skits have been banned by SNL as far as re-showing them.
Ones they couldn't do.
Right. But you can find most of them online.
I'll tell you where Uncle Paul comes from, or the evolution of it was and again, this is after this Uncle Roy thing.
Uncle Paul comes from buried memories.
No, that was a good memory, Uncle Roy, because I couldn't remember that, and I couldn't find that anywhere online.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember it, but when I was, I guess in the 90s, I was dating a girl, and I would do characters. What eventually became Edgar was known as Little Mouth Man. There was no, and Uncle Larry was the name. It was not Uncle Paul back then. It was Uncle Larry, who was like the molesty uncle. He talked different. And then, and Chip was like Roger Davis. I've told this story before. Roger Davis was the original, and he had a brother, Stewie, who he looked up to, Stewart, who was just like white trash. And he had another brother, I think Lester was his name, who was burned in a fire everywhere except below the knees. So he always wore knickers to show off his unburned calves.
So that was the backstory on the character.
Yeah, there was so much more.
All right.
Like his mother was white trashy too, kind of like Chips. I just don't remember. I have no recordings of it.
You've been doing these characters for like 20 years. In the 90s.
No, I would say, well, when did I date oh my God, dude.
90s are now 20 years ago.
Yes.
I was 20.
At least.
Because the girl I was dating, her name was Liz. So this was probably, I dated her after Tina, who I was dating when it might have been 17, 18 years ago, yeah. Wow, I forgot about that. I didn't realize it that long ago.
Horribly unproductive use of
your
brain. I mean, it couldn't be less productive.
Listen to Opie and Jimmy every morning here on Opie Radio.
Hey guys, welcome back. FanDuel.
It's not a welcome back.
FanDuel is changing the way people play fantasy baseball. I'm bad at this. It's more fun than ever signing up now to play one-day fantasy baseball at FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com, the leader in one-day fantasy baseball for real money without immediate cash payouts. Entry fees start at just $1. Stop waiting 6 months to win a league. Stop what you're doing. Play today. Win tonight. Take your girl out with all that extra cash. You're like, what I'm doing? Oh, here we go. I lost my place. I shouldn't look at Opie. Pick a brand new team and just play any way you want all day. No season-long commitments and no upfront fees. It's just baseball. Play NHL, play NBA playoff games on FanDuel too. David W. from Tampa. I knew that dude growing up. He won $29,975 on opening day this season on FanDuel, and so did Danny S. and Richard C. from Largo. I just add that in. I fucking lost my place again. Who won? They both won $13,000 and $5,000 respectively. FanDuel is paying out more than $2.5 million every single day this MLB season, but you have to play to win. So sign up today. Go to FanDuel.com, click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner, use the code OPIE, O-P-I-E, and sign up now, all capital letters. Special offer for new users. Every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match with up to $200 that gets earned as soon as you play. Go to FanDuel.com and use the promo code OPIE. FanDuel.com. I love you.
This is Opie Radio, Sirius 206, XM 103. The show is back.
No, you're good at reading. That was good, Bert Kreischer.
By the way, can I tell you that I dropped some knowledge on Who Kid about Waka Flocka Flame, the guy he's been touring with?
Touring? They're going to try for the presidency.
Yeah,
those two.
I know.
They'll never win.
I just dropped some knowledge on Waka Flocka Flame getting called out in the hood.
What'd you say?
I was telling him a story about Waka Flocka Flame.
How do you know the story?
I know Waka Flocka Flame because my kids say to me every morning before they go to school, go hard in the motherfucking paint.
Yeah, leave you stankin'.
Yeah.
Fuck you thanking.
Fucking word is bonds. Garbage.
It's no fun to be had.
I want to thank Neil deGrasse Tyson for coming in. It always reminds us of Michio Kaku, another guy that tries to explain the universe to me and Jimmy and everyone else that's in here on a regular basis. But you saw him yesterday, Jimmy, in your building again?
Yep. Walked by. Hello.
Again?
Every time.
Unbelievable.
Every time.
I guess because he doesn't want to be distracted with all the stuff he's thinking about at that very moment, right?
He could say hi, I guess.
It would be nice.
He could say hi.
Bert.
Yes.
You asking do me next is going to make me laugh all day. That's going to make me laugh all day. Do me.
That makes my day.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, very kind when he's trying to figure out how much you weigh.
Yeah.
He gave me a nice 7 pounds less. It's going to make me feel good all day long.
It was a good call.
Did you just get back from New Zealand?
No. I was in New Zealand recently for Trip Flip.
I think we might have talked about that on the phone, actually, maybe. How was it?
It was fucking insane.
Everyone talks about how amazing this place is, and if it wasn't so damn far away,
it's not that far.
They would either visit it more or go live there.
It's not that far, comparatively speaking. I mean, I went to Vietnam recently, and it was a 33-hour flight home. That is aggressive. It's just, out of L.A., it's a 13-hour flight. It's extremely doable. It's just like flying to London from L.A., in my opinion.
Right.
It's just, it's just a couple more hours. And it is, and I say this honestly, it is otherworldly. It is like a place you've never seen. We were down in Queenstown, and it's the most beautiful place I've ever been. The people are all gorgeous. It's like Australia, but much more textured. Like Australia in the Rocky Mountains, but with like parts of Switzerland and Germany. I'm being serious when I say this. If you have one trip to take with you and your chick, go to New Zealand. And if you have a group of friends, say like Sam's age, where they all get a little bit of money and they want to have a crazy trip, that's when you go to Vietnam. God, Vietnam's freaking amazing.
It's cheap, too.
Dude, we stayed in Ha Long Bay on a junk boat. It was $600 a night. Agatha Christie style, all teak wood, staterooms. You have your own chef, your own captain. They take you out to the most amazing places.
How many people can stay there for $600 a night total? Or
like 13.
13. Oh, okay.
You split 600 among 13 people.
It is rooms. It's 3 stories.
Right.
There's rooms on every one. I had a full stateroom with a bathroom. There were like 3 of those on the top deck. There's rooms all around the center deck, and the crew will just go over to people like pulling up lobster pots or just pulling their nets and just go get freshest fucking food I've ever had. It was amazing.
How long were you there for?
I was there for 5 days.
How were the lady boys?
I didn't see any.
That's Thailand, you're thinking?
Yeah, Thailand.
I bet you Vietnam has a few lady boys wandering around.
I don't know. I didn't see. I think it's definitely. Well, Brody Stevens was talking about it. He went to one of those lady boy things. I think it's definitely in Bangkok in Thailand.
Right.
Yeah. That's like real big there.
Well, yeah, that's the epicenter, but I would assume they're elsewhere.
No, we didn't see any of that. We drove motorcycles through Hanoi, so it was like absolute fucking chaos. Like one of the scariest things. I was on one of these old Russian Urals, so I had to feather the whatchamacallit the entire time, feather the gas and hold the clutch. It was Vietnam's fucking spectacular. So was Japan. I mean,
New Zealand was nice. That New Zealand sounds the most appealing out of those.
Did you do any of those activities? Those outdoor activities?
I've done all those activities. I've just
the bouncy ball or whatever. You get inside the middle of that. What is it called?
It's called a Zorb. I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm doing that in a couple of weeks. I've done that with Rachel Ray. I've done that a bunch. I tried to take that into Big Surf one time. I thought that would work. Like get inside there, go out into the waves, and get thrown around. I thought that would be badass.
Right.
But it's a very dangerous because you're trapped inside plastic. So if it pops, you just suffocate and die.
Right.
I didn't think that went through.
Did you try it though?
I tried, yeah, and they stopped me very quickly.
So you've gone to the top of these hills and just let it go all the way down as you're in the middle of it? How does that feel?
It's pretty fun. You put in like water and you'll put like soap in there, and so you're kind of out of control. We do it with like 5 people.
Soap and water? Why?
So you can slide. It's like a slip and slide. So you go inside the ball. The ball's hollow. It's all cushioned. You can do it out by Dollywood in Tennessee. That's the best place to do it.
Did you get dizzy?
No, you don't. You don't spin. You stay the same. So I wish Neil Tyson deGrasse was here to talk this through.
No, it's deGrasse Tyson. It only spelled deGrasse Tyson on the pad data. Grassee.
But you stay in the center, so it's like you're inside the ball and you're sudsy and you're kind of slip and sliding down the ball.
Oh, so as the ball's rolling,
you don't flip around.
I got you.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I thought you do a lot of bouncing down some of those hills though too.
Oh yeah, you get some air, you get some definite air, but you
were you freaked out?
I've been freaked out so fucking much. Hope you have no fucking idea.
But on that.
No, that's when you get hurt though, when you're not freaked out. Like I fell off a waterfall the other day.
What do you mean you can't just say that casually?
No, it was fucking terrifying. But I was rappelling down a waterfall, something I've done a million times. I'm really comfortable rappelling. I'm really comfortable rock climbing. And I got into this real epiphanous moment, sitting in the waterfall, 40-degree water slamming on my head, and I'm just like, this is the greatest life. I'm so lucky to work for Travel Channel. Kind of kick out to explore a little bit, come back, slip, waterfall flips me upside down, and I just drop 15 feet on my back. Just goosh, knock the wind out of myself. and literally thought I broke my back. No questions asked. I knew it. I broke my back. I broke my ribs. And I'm in a canyon 210 feet down. I got to now crawl out on my hands and knees.
Wow.
Oh, it was terrifying. But that's when you get hurt. It's the real dangerous shit where you survive because you're so scared.
Right.
But it's the stuff you get like the most hurt I've probably ever been was that. And then before that, I was on a blob in Texas.
What's a blob?
It's one of those inflatable big balloons they put in a lake. Someone jumps off a dock.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And they shoot you up.
And you go flying.
And I went flying, and I didn't want to flip, and so I kicked my hamstrings out. Like trying to run and like frighten my body. I kicked both my hamstrings out of just thunk, and then couldn't walk, couldn't move.
Did they rise up?
Yeah,
toward your knee.
Everything. It was.
You ever have that in the middle of the night?
Oh, it was the most painful thing.
Where your calf muscle actually decides it needs to go, toward your knee.
Yeah, it's awful.
And you have to grab it immediately to try to hold it in place. Like, don't do this.
I was stuck like this. Like I couldn't extend my legs. I was stuck like this.
Ouch. What were you doing? Just running?
I was in a blob and I got shot up and I tried to like right myself by running.
Running in the air.
And I just kicked both my hamstrings out. And I was at a Christian youth camp. And they were like, I always travel with Vicodin because in case you get hurt, you need something to have on hand.
Good excuse.
So I popped some Vicodins.
Good excuse.
And then they all come into the camp and they all sit around the bed. And the pastor's like, "Are y'all thinking what I'm thinking?" And they're like,
"Let's rape them."
Yeah. No, that's not what happened.
Oh, well.
He's like, "Let's pray on you." Right. So they all put their hands on me and prayed on me. And then and I was high as shit, and I was just fucking like, "Oh, this is so surreal." And I didn't know what to do with my hands, so I put them on the inner thighs of the two kids next to me, like just held their inner thighs.
Just healing. Everyone's healing.
You are nuts.
Everyone's getting better.
And what else do they do in New Zealand? They do some of that.
We went spelunking. I was talking to Roland about that. Spelunking.
Yeah. I would like to do that. Why?
They get you in. You go into the cave, kind of zip line in a little bit.
Right.
You get pretty deep, and there's water rushing through. And then the guy goes, "All right, everyone in the birthing canal." And you get into a hole that is the size of your body. Your head is touching the top of it, and the water's at your chin, and you are just breathing on your, like crawling like a marine crawl through this birthing canal that gets you into the cave. And once you go through it, there's no getting out. Water's rushing past you, and I was literally like, all I could think in like,
claustrophobic?
Horrifically claustrophobic.
Yeah, that sounds like...
It's that panic where you just go, I just want to grab something.
So the water's up to your chin.
Up to my chin.
The top of your head's hitting the top of the cave or whatever, or this passageway, and then the walls on the sides.
Oh, you couldn't do this. It was shoulders.
So you're squeezing your arms together.
And you're crawling like this.
Holy fuck, how long do you have to do that for?
About, probably, honestly, about 15 feet.
Right.
But
I mean, how far down are you?
Oh, you're in the middle of the earth. You're down into this cave.
But what, like 1,000 feet or so?
Oh, no, not 1,000 feet. Probably.
A couple hundred feet?
Probably 100 feet. Probably, maybe 200 feet, 210 feet.
All right, continue, sorry.
And so then they get you in, and then the water starts really pumping through. And the guy, there was a moment where the guy says to me, he's like, "All right, so I'm going to push you in. What I want you to do is you're going to feel water, get behind the water. You'll be behind the waterfall, and then you're going to take yourself and climb through that water. You're going to have to hold your breath, and maybe 100 gallons of water is pumping on your head. So you go in, and it is not, you're in a closet, but imagine a closet if a fucking waterfall's hitting over you, and you're standing behind it trying to breathe.
Clothes would get wet.
And it was fucking, and then we had to scramble up this waterfall throughout this trek, probably 210 feet.
How cold is it?
Freezing. You're in dry suits. And so it is, and what was crazy is I got two travelers, I got two cameramen and a sound guy, and I know production well enough to know that when we lost sound, I was like, this has not been vetted. No one knows how fucking tight this is. We are in this already, and we just got to get out with everything. And I got two travelers, so they'd get you into a place, and then they'd put you in a hole. Like, and go, "Stay here," the guides, and you just be sitting claustrophobic as fuck, squatting in like no room whatsoever, water up to your chest, and you just be waiting for everyone to go. You couldn't just get out if you wanted to.
Right.
And then they took us into one, and this fucking eel showed up. I was like, "Motherfucker!" It was insane. But here's the thing: is I look back, I go, was it worth it? 100%. I love telling the story, but like, there's moments where you're in there and you just like, this is like this.
Does it ever open up where you could relax and go, "Wow, this is pretty cool down
fucking
there"?
It opens up, and then I see like 20 fucking Japanese women just in inner tubes swimming, floating right by us. I'm like,
just enjoying their day.
Well, then where the fuck did you guys go? And he goes,
found the easy way in.
He goes, there's 2 routes. We took the hard one.
Oh, God.
I was like, I could have been in an inner tube with Japanese chicks.
On a lazy river?
The lazy fucking river. They're literally carefree. I walk out with my hands, my life in my hands going, and I see these women like, picture. Fucking.
They've been tanning themselves for the last hour. That's funny.
Did you leave the same way you came in, or is it?
No, you go all the way through, and then we had to have an hour hike to get back to where the cars were. So like you get out, you open up. I don't know if you see the episode. When I come out of the cave, it is the best. It's like a fucking like thank God look. And I'm looking at what I'm doing is I'm not even looking at the camera. I'm looking at my producing partner Paul, and I'm going, no one fucking vetted this. No one fucking vetted this. And he's like, was it good? Did we get good footage? And I'm like, I thought I was gonna die. And he's like, okay, good. I'm glad we got something.
How is it jumping off the thing in Vegas?
Stratosphere?
Yeah.
Oh, I was the first person to do it.
Yeah.
It was fucking... that was the first time where I woke up in the middle of the night, had a full panic attack, and I was like, I've made some really poor life decisions. I was like, I've made all my decisions drunk. I never thought anything through. I decided to be a comic just drunk one night. I want to be a comedian. Then I did it. I want to be on... And I called my wife. I was like, I'm going to run away. I'm not going to do it. And she was like, what? I go, I'm renting a car. I'm fucking disappearing. I go, I can't do this. They're dropping water dummies at the time. Fucking water dummies are hitting. And so she goes, no, call the producers, say, you can't do it. Tell them you can't do it. So I called Dan Adler. I go, I can't do it. Right. He's like, okay, that's fine. He goes, that's fine. There's going to be stuff that you can't do. We get it. But we need you not to do it at the edge. Like, don't do it at the edge. You just can't tap out the bottom. Don't do it at the edge. So I go, I can do that. So like now I'm confident as fuck. I'm like, get me in the outfit. Who wants to do that? Like,
why? Because you know you're gonna back out.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get up to the thing. And go, I can't do it, and I'm fine with being a coward. I'm totally fine.
That
with
would actually help the stratosphere that someone was so scared people would actually want to go and do it.
And it makes for great TV.
Yeah, and
obviously.
so I get up there. I get up there. I'm locked in. I'm harnessed in. I'm doing reads. I'm calm because I know I'm backing the fuck out.
Hold on, let me walk you. Sorry, but
hit pause on that. Hit pause on that, and I'll show you this. This is fascinating.
You walk out like you're in the outfit, right? And then what do? You walk out to the edge.
It's like a diving board. It's like a diving board. It's all encased in glass. There's a huge, what looks like a fishing reel in there, and you see it going. It's like a spool, and they harness you in, and then you lean out, and the thing pulls you as you harness. Like when they hook you into the back, you're definitely pulled off, so you're holding on. And my cameraman's on the side, and all of a sudden I see him like go to his walkie in his ear, and he starts laughing, and I go, what? And he goes, hey man, nothing for nothing. This guy's Scott Sands, by the way, and he's a big fan of the show. Nice. Scott Sands says, what's up, Scott? Nothing for nothing. I just fucking jump. I go, what? And he goes, listen, man, the mayor's down there with a shot of tequila with dancing girls. Fucking everyone's here. He goes, there's like a 3rd grade class behind you chanting your name. He's like, you can jump right now and have 16 seconds of terror, or you can explain for the next 5 years why you didn't fucking jump. So I just fucking go, fuck it, I'm jumping. I'm fucking jumping.
Did he jump with you?
No, he's harnessed into the side of the stratosphere. This guy's fucking fearless. He's fucking one of the best cameramen I've ever worked with. So I go, fuck it, and I just jump. I land. It is maybe second best moment of my entire life, better than the birth of my second daughter. It is, the mayor greets me, do a shot, showgirls are going, this is when poker was big, all the poker guys are there, they're high-fiving me, fucking film crews are getting it, awesome. We get down, my producer goes, we missed it.
No.
I said, what? She goes, we missed it. We didn't know you were gonna jump, so we didn't have audio down here, we didn't have camera ready down here, like, we got nothing. She goes, you need to jump again. I was like, fuck you, and I left. I go, you can piece it together. I fucking jumped. Month later, they go, Travel Channel calls and like, we're sending you back to the stratosphere. You got to jump. We didn't get any footage on it. So if you watch that episode, you will see the mayor, the showgirls, everyone. You'll see the whole buildup of me holding on, the kids chanting my name. And then when I land, it's fucking 3 janitors that they just pulled out to like try to make it look big because we had to reshoot it. And they're like, I'm like, how you doing, guys?
My ex did that. We went and had lunch with Dana White and looked at the stratosphere, and he goes, you can jump off that. And I guess the relationship was not going well because she's like, can we have a cab right now? So she went on that ride you're pointing at, that thing that takes you out over the
oh yeah, insanity.
What is that? That's where you get hover over the fucking drop?
Yeah, the 3 rides up on top of Stratosphere are easily as thrilling, if not more thrilling than sky jump, in my opinion. Insanity, it takes you out, swings you out over, and then it fans you out so you're facing down, and it spins you in a circle. The other one drops you. It is like the biggest fear in the world. It's that coaster that it falls, and you slide down, and you basically, if you're sitting in front, it feels like you're falling off the edge of the stratosphere.
Yeah, you stop short. I've seen that.
Yeah. Oh, there's you.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, how scary was that when you fell for 16 seconds?
It was fucking terrifying.
You were out of your fucking mind.
It's a controlled descent, technically, which is really scary, but...
Oh my!
Can you make it bigger, Sam?
This roller coaster. Get the fuck out of here.
They have the numbers in front. It's interfering with the video.
Stratosphere Sky Jump, number 2.
The True Network just asked if I'd do Bert the Conqueror again. They were like, it still does well. And they're like, would you do it again? And I was like, fuck, I'll do it. Yeah. So these rides, by the way, are more thrilling, if not, I mean, in my opinion, because they're scary as shit, and they're just mechanics. Things fucking break. So that's all that's going in my head is this could just clink and then
you're going, you're nose diving in like a one-car fucking roller coaster thing, and it just stops you.
Yeah.
How long do you go down for?
Dude, it's like a seesaw. So you're sitting like this, and then you see, and then all of a sudden you start rolling, and it's rolling with a real inertia. There's nothing like you don't feel any weight stopping you, and you just go zoom and stop. And then what it'll do is the ride will go like this, like it broke, and it is fucking intense. The second jump off the stratosphere is scarier than the first one, because the first one you're so wrapped up in it, and you're like, oh my god, there's a target. I'm going to the target. Oh, I slowed down. The second time you're doing it, and this is the same with skydiving, you're more aware of the target and you're more aware of the stop. So you're like, oh fuck, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work again? Is this gonna work? It was the second jump was harder for me, in my opinion.
Would you, if you had done that like 10 times in a row, would it get easier each time, you think? Like if you didn't have a big break in between it?
Yeah, I think so. Like my big thing right now, and I'm trying to do this in the States, I've got a company in South Africa that I was working with to try to open up a rope swing. Rope swings are hands down, but no questions asked, the most thrilling thing you can do. Above skydiving, bungee jumping, just short of base jumping, technically, in my opinion. But like, it is amazing. We did one in Moses Mabhida Stadium, which is like 360 feet, 370 feet, and you free fall for all of it. You free fall for all of it, and then at the last second, it catches you and swings you out. It is amazing. I did one in Interlaken, Switzerland, where you go into a canyon, and there's 410 feet, and the guy says to me, hey, lift your feet up, because you might hit the rock. And you're just like, I'm like, hey man, don't fuck around with me, because I need to know this. He's like, no, just lift your feet up. You literally stop falling 15 feet shy of the ground. And you swing through this canyon, and I swear to God, you come to that rock, and you're like, I'm fucking hitting it. But missed it. I'm really badly trying to find a stadium that'll let us open a rope swing, because it is easily the most thrilling thing out there.
And is it fun ever?
It's fun as fuck. It's the moment after. It's not up on the edge. It's the free fall's insane. There's nothing like that feeling. But it's when you're done, you've never felt more alive. It's like you have a secret.
I want to see you.
I want to see these. Yeah, because
I want to see you jumping off the stratosphere.
Can I see the fucking car thing first? Whatever I'm babbling.
The roller coaster?
Yeah, I just want to see it stop, because I watched it from I have never seen it from this angle.
Fucking
shit. The 3 most intense rides in the world. The 3 highest rides in the world. I mean, they're 112 stories above the Vegas Strip. But they've also got a new ride called Sky Jump, which I opened, which is the tallest controlled descent in the world.
There's all the people.
855 feet. You get put into a flight suit, you go to the observation deck, they hook you into a carabiner that's attached to what looks like a giant fishing reel with a big propeller turbine on the side, and you jump, and you free fall for 16 seconds. And at the end of the 16 seconds, the last 45 feet, they slow you down enough, hopefully, to stop and land on your feet. Yeah, and you've never felt more alive.
No one's fucking there.
If you're going on a bachelor party soon to Vegas, this is what you do. Like, no one's fucking there.
I love saying that after the story you told. There was no one at the bottom.
There's no one at the bottom. It's so sad.
Because you had to do it a second time.
Do you understand I would have murdered my producers if I did that and they said we didn't get it?
You would have been happy.
Oh.
That's really funny. There was no one there.
There was no one there. I was already done a shot at the kill with the fucking mayor. The mayor's out there. And this is the mayor that was like the sketchy Vegas mayor. Showgirls. It was like the great. I mean, like I was a celebrity. I walked around in that flight suit for the day and everyone was like, hey, Bert the Conqueror. I was like, what's up?
You couldn't get the camera ready in the 16 seconds you were falling?
No.
Just turn it on.
No. just well, there's also no audio. So even if they have the camera, it's just silent film.
Right.
The audio bag's up top where I'm doing reads.
Yeah, it's kind of important to get your reaction to the whole thing.
It's the thing that ruins television. I like doing that. I like telling you the story because when you see it, you're like, oh shit, that really did suck.
So your cameraman, what do you mean he was on the side of the stratosphere? Where was
this guy? Was fucking fearless. He still is fearless, I'm sure. He was harnessed in. So wherever that thing is, there's obviously like nuts and bolts. This guy goes in, throws in a couple carabiners, a few daisy chains, and gets in his harness and just hangs off below me, off to the side, 1,100 feet over the strip.
Was he scared?
Fearless. This guy was so fucking badass. And I'm not shitting on my current camera guys, but like he rigged that day I got hurt on that blob. He rigged a zip line personally. He privately rigged a zip line from a tow truck who had one of those cranks, those winches. He took that, ran it across a lake or like a river type thing to a truck on the other side, and then harnessed himself in and made his own zip line so that he could get a shot that when someone jumped, he was zip lining, and you see the guy jump, but he's still continuously moving, and he could catch the next guy coming off.
Oh my God.
Scott Sands was a beast, but apparently he doesn't want to work on Bert the Conqueror this season. So Scott, if you're listening,
why doesn't he?
Because he's a Steadicam operator for fucking Jim Gaffigan's new show.
That's a little safer.
He's in semi-retirement is what you're saying.
But he was so fearless. It's like sometimes you work with cameramen who are like, dude, this isn't safe. This is not safe.
Is there one thing you just said fuck no to?
Base jumping.
You just, because you're back probably?
No. It just, there was a weight limit, and the guy was like, we can fucking totally fudge it if you need us to. And I was like, no, I can't. I was like, no, I don't want to skin. He's like, I mean, it'll work. It'll be fine. You're not going to die. And I was like, well, yeah, but base jumping is like the one activity that my wife...
What is base jumping? That's not when you bungee. That's when you jump with what? One of those...
You just jump with a parachute off a bridge. And there are so many base jumping accidents.
Yep.
It is. I went swimming with sharks one time, and our camera woman was swimming out of the cage, getting us in the cage, and she said, and by the way, swimming with great white sharks in South Africa, one of the greatest fucking experiences of my life.
I did that.
Did you?
No, of course he didn't.
Bert.
What was it like? Where did you go?
Just fucking hitting them.
Oh. What'd you hit him with?
Fucking fist.
How many did you...
About 6.
You punched 6 sharks.
I know.
How were you underwater that long?
Just hold my fucking breath, cocksucker. Go ahead, Bert.
You didn't have scuba equipment or anything?
Stop asking questions. We're talking to Bert.
You don't need scuba equipment. I believe the story.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was. I don't know what I was talking about.
That's all right.
You were talking about swimming with great white sharks.
Base jumping.
Our camera woman, when we went to do it, was like...
she was swimming out of the cage.
Yeah, but we were staying with Galapagos sharks at the time, and she was like... I was telling her about my job. I just gotten Bert the Conqueror. I said, yeah, I got like a lot of shit on the docket, like crazy stuff. She said, let me tell you something. Don't ever base jump. And I was like, really? And she goes, I've done everything. Don't ever base jump, because if you base jump, that's how you'll die. And I went... I heard that, and I was like, I'll never go base jumping. So when we went to Utah, I think it was in Idaho is the only place you can legally base jump in the States. And over
How high is the bridge?
400 feet, I think. I think it's 400 feet. It might be more.
Right.
Why is it open the parachute? Is the parachutes are unreliable? Is that why you're throwing them up in the air?
Yes, but they don't do it like that. They do static jumps, so that one guy will hold on to what technically is your cord or your, so he'll hold on to it. So the guy will jump, and as the guy jumps, that guy inflates his parachute for him. So he's holding on to it. So as he jumps, it rips out of his hand, and the guy's parachute opens. But there was a weight limit of like 160 pounds, and I was like 235, and I was like, I was like, I don't trust it. And they were like, I mean, legally, we can't do this shit. But they say that to you all the time. They'll always be like, we're not supposed to do this, but for the show, we'll do it. And I'm like, don't do it for the fucking show.
Exactly.
It's my life. I don't care to.
Right.
So that's the only thing I've said no to, really.
What was great about the great white sharks?
Well,
I mean, it sounds like it would be amazing, obviously, but what
there were quiet sharks in the movie theater, I bet. Go ahead, Bert.
What blew you away when you were down there in the cage?
Well, 2 things were impressive about this. First of all, the cage is more like, it's like this wide and then this long. So we'd all be standing shoulder to shoulder to shoulder in the cage.
Small cage.
And the visibility wasn't perfect. So what was happening was the guys would lure the sharks in with like a big tuna head, and then they go down when the shark was near you, and you'd hop down in the water, and you didn't have tank on, like Chip was saying. You didn't have a tank on.
That's right.
And you'd see it, but it would show up at the last minute, much like a shark attack. It would just go, and you'd get to witness a great white shark literally attacking you at the last, just like a shark attack. It was fucking terrifying. So then I decide it was freaking me out, so I decided I want to get on top of the cage and watch the shark. It's in the edit. You can see it in the edit. And I want to watch where the shark's body is because you could see it from top. And then I figured when we get close, I'd hop down. Well, it's fucking coming at me. I'm like, okay, timing it right. All of a sudden, the shark leaps out of the water at me, and I'm like, motherfucker! Shit, drop into the cage, and I'm like literally thinking I'm going to die. And then as I get in the water, the shark's right up on the cage. It was one of the fucking craziest experiences.
Wow.
Can you use the cage?
It's not out yet.
Oh, it's not out yet?
No, it's not out yet.
Okay.
This is swimming with sharks in Hawaii. I took my daughters. By the way, if you go to Hawaii, if you go to Honolulu, go out to Haleiwa Harbor and go swimming with North Shore Shark Adventures. Or there's a lot of shark guys. They take you out. You swim with maybe 30 Galapagos sharks. It is spiritual. I honestly say that. It is one of the coolest fucking things. I took my daughters out 5 and 9 or 6 and whatever, 2 years apart. 8 and 10, it was like last year, I took my daughters out. My daughters are like still young enough, they're holding their nose, going underwater. And you can find that video on YouTube.
They look older.
Those are our travelers. Our trip flip. But you can see it on, this is me and my daughters. And so this is all the sharks.
Whoa.
And then, and these are my daughters in a cage.
But aren't their feet going to get bitten?
No.
Why?
Because their feet don't get out of the cage. Like Isla, you can see Isla's holding her nose still. And the sharks are like, it's one of the coolest things.
That looks awesome to do.
Dude, if you go to Hawaii, you have to do it.
That looks really cool.
Would they bite you, these sharks, or are these not the nasty ones?
I mean, theoretically, I guess they bite you. They made the analogy, they're like dogs. Technically, they're not going to do anything, but yeah, I made the analogy. Yeah, I made the analogy. It's like Middle Easterns in the airport. They may blow a plane up, but probably not.
You don't. Yeah, it's a possibility.
There's a possibility.
So wait, would a guy who's an experienced great white swimmer with the mesh suits, would one of those guys just swim out in the open water with them?
Yeah, and those suits are extremely difficult to operate because